The South fires on Fort Sumter, and the Civil War begins.
Some of the best things on Earth come in threes.
That's right, Lee. There's the Three Stooges.
And then there's the Cajun cooking trinity of onions, bell peppers, and celery.
And of course, guys, there's the Holy Trinity.
Now, I'm not comparing my Trinity to the Holy Trinity, but I guarantee you, my Trinity of homemade small batch rubs can put a heavenly smile on your taste buds. And all three come with my 100% money-back guarantee. If you don't love and think that my Trinity of Beast and Butt Rub, Chicken Mamu, and Acadiana steak seasoning aren't the best and most essential spices in your arsenal, I'll buy them back from you.
It may not be holy, KingDude, but that's the best spice and rub deal on this side of heaven.
Order Mike Church's set of Trinity Rubs and save big at MikeChurch.com/rub. That's one bottle each of Beast and Butt Rub, Chicken Mamu Lemon Herb Seasoning, and Acadiana steak seasoning for one low price and the KingDude's money back guarantee. Order today at MikeChurch.com/rub. It's not tape or a Post-it or a candy bar, but this new 3M
is the freshest spin on true crime shows since dinosaurs were solving cold cases with fossil evidence. Yeah, it's that original, folks.
Mom's Murders and Mysteries. New episodes debut every Tuesday night, 6:30 East, 4 West, exclusively on the Crusade channel. Live talk podcast radio, the way it should be.
If Oman doesn't do what I told him to do, then I guess we'll have to bomb him. I saw a report on CNN yesterday saying that Trump is now threatened to either bomb, invade, annex, take over all but 13 countries of Earth. This show started by asking the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you.
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
Thunder, well, now you've got it. You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming Hey!
All righty, Oakley Dokley and all that sort of jazz. Call in line telephone number if you'd like to be on the program today, 844-527-8723, 844-5-Crusade. Email address same as it ever hath been. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. Crusader Mike Church Show Stadium open at crusadechannel.com/chat for your commentary. And we have the one and only Frank Wright. He 45 million view fame now. Gonna have to ask him, has all the fame changed you, Frank? Frank with the, what is he called, the interview that he gave. We will catch up with Frank and what's going on in merry old England and what's going on in the rest of the Western world during that interview today. It's called the Makerfield. I'm not familiar with the town, but that's the town that he was in when he was interviewed. So the Makerfield moment. So that'll be in the last hour of the program today. A programming note: there's nothing wrong with your radios. There's nothing wrong with the stream. There was a technical difficulty. There was no way to get the actual newscast today. And so I didn't want to run yesterday's. So in a jiffy or in a jam, I just stuck some previews in from the Memorial Day extravaganza that we rolled last week with the You All There. And that's why it's there. It's a temporary thing, so there is no need to panic. You might need to panic over the course of events that has been transpiring since February the 28th of this year, though, and there doesn't seem to be any end in sight. I wonder, and I really wonder about this, and if I had the time, maybe I would do it. I wonder how long the montage of sound bites would be if you strung together every instance of President Trump saying, Iran can't have a nuke. They're not getting a nuke. They can't have a nuke. And that's what we've been saying. They can't have a nuke. If you could find every time he has said that publicly, and you put them all together end to end, I wonder how long of a tape that would make. It probably would be up into the hours. So this is when there's a book on my shelf in there. Well, actually, it's not on the shelf. It's in storage. It should be on the shelf because it's a go-to book. It's called the Oxford Dictionary of Quotations. If you have, and they would update it pretty much every 5 years or so. So you might have a Oxford Dictionary of Quotations book, and it may have been volume 12 or 14. I don't remember what volume mine was. I bought it in like 1992, 1993. But I do remember the book was this thick. And what it was before there was the interwebs, and before you could go and Brave search or Google search for whatever it was that you're looking for that someone may have said, you know how you had to get it previously? You had to go to a library. Imagine this. You had to go to a library. You might even have to go to the card catalog, and then you'd have to go like, okay, well, who am I looking for a quote from? If you knew the source, let's just say it was Shakespeare. But you're going like, yeah, but I don't remember. Wait, was it Romeo and Juliet? Was it The Tempest? Was it Midsummer Night's Dream? I don't remember. You might have to go through and then start reading Shakespeare books, and hopefully it'd have an index at the end, and then you could look the word up. So in any event, if you were looking to quote someone and you didn't have your own library, you'd have to go to an actual library. Well, the Oxford Dictionary of Quotations kind of provided a tool for that. And it collected quotations, going all the way back to Genesis, practically. No, it did go back to Genesis. And it was fully indexed and fully cross-searchable, and it had a thesaurus in it, or a thesaurus, So it didn't matter what you were looking for. You could probably find a quote in the 800 pages of the Oxford Dictionary. The reason I bring it up is because that quote is going to be Trump's quote in the Oxford Dictionary. Iran can't have a nuke. I've been saying it for 47 years. They're not going to have a nuclear bomb. Their nuclear program's obliterated. That one's going to be in there, too. Because he repeated it about 6 times yesterday because different reporters kept asking him questions. And then the subject of the Middle East and the squalor, just the disastrous state of affairs that it's currently in, mostly of his making, came up again. And so apparently, if there is to be a reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, the people of the leadership of the country of Oman apparently have said something to the effect. I didn't see it, but I'm just filling the gap in from what he said. Apparently have said something to the effect that, well, you know, the Gulf of Oman empties into the Persian Gulf, and we have a say-so in this. It's our Gulf. It's named for us. And this, of course, made the madman of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, well, if Oman doesn't, well, I guess we'll have to bomb them. I guess we'll have to teach them a lesson or whatever the thing was. There doesn't seem to be anyone. You know, the only country that, the 13 countries that we haven't threatened to invade, take over, annex, bomb, replace their president, regime change, or what have you, I didn't get the list of countries, but I'm just thinking out loud. Who's on it? England? Liechtenstein? You know what? It's probably the little countries. Monaco, Liechtenstein, Belgium, what are the other ones? San Marino, which is still part of, it looks like it's part of Italy, but it's not. So, in any event, we will bring this up as the program unfolds in front of your very ears. What else is going on here today? Just going through the stack. Pope Leo. Okay, I'm still reading my way through Humanitatis Dignitas, or Humanitatis Dignatus, or Dignitas or Dignatus, the encyclical on AI, which is turning out to be a encyclical and a referendum, if you will, or a wait, if you bring someone to a close, a sunsetting of several millennia-old Catholic doctrines. Just war theory is one of them. So I thought that this was just fascinating that someone would do this. And it involves AI. So Eric Sammons, the editor of Crisis Magazine and 1 Peter 5, posted on his X, yes, he's back on X now, on his X yesterday that he had read Michael Pakolik's Substack about Magnifica Humanitatis, the encyclical from Pope Leo. And what Pakolik, the signal thing that Pakolik has added to the debate is that he grabbed the encyclical when it first came out. As soon as they said it was going to come out like 9 a.m. Rome time on Monday or Tuesday, he went and grabbed it immediately, downloaded it, got the English version of it, and then fed it into the Claude AI. And then he asked the Claude AI to prepare an analysis. Now, the interesting thing about it is that Claude would not have had much of an opportunity, if any opportunity at all, to aggregate what other people were saying about Magnifica Humanitatis, or Humanitas, the encyclical, because it was so fresh. So in other words, no one would have completed reading it. So they wouldn't have an analysis on it or a commentary on it or anything of the sort because it was too new. So then the Claude AI would have to rely upon what it already knew about Catholicism. In other words, it couldn't be tainted by what it would learn from other people saying this and that and the other about Magnifica Humanitas. So he fed it into Claude. He gave it a series of instructions. He said, I gave Claude this prompt. Suppose you were looking at this text as if it were a draft, and you were asked to assess it critically from the point of view of a sound, Catholic, well-educated person. List all of the issues you would flag for revision from most egregious to least. And then he said, okay, Claude cranked the list out. After that, I prompted it to add other items which I had noticed. The list varies in the strength of the criticisms, but arguably all of the criticisms or at least apparent problems and ought to have been addressed in a rewrite. And the list can claim a certain objectivity because of the broad range of views already incorporated into the AI inference. So, and then he says, no, what is found below is the list that Claude generated, given the constraints and conditions mentioned above. So, lo and behold, what was the most egregious thing the AI that read the encyclical thought was in it? And it doesn't have anything to do. What an irony. And AI, the encyclical, Magnifica Humanitas, is supposedly about, a warning shot across the bow to the rest of Earth about the dangers of AI and about humanity being eclipsed by artificial intelligence and what have you, things that you already know. But just the irony of that, okay, so we fed an actual AI, your document on AI, and it came back and it said, you are the one that is in the most egregious of errors that you have committed, maybe, and some people come to this conclusion, a heresy. Most egregious. The just war doctrine is effectively repudiated. Now, this just follows right along the line, doesn't it? First, you have Pope Francis basically saying that the death penalty is inadmissible. Well, not according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and every witness, and the Jewish historian Josephus, who all recorded that Jesus of Nazareth was executed by the political, public, legal authority of Jerusalem under the rule of Caesar Augustus. And this was a capital punishment, was carried out against Christ himself. Christ even says, do you not think that if I wanted to, I couldn't just summon an army of angels and get out of this and have this whole thing come to an end? So how could you then say that, and I don't want to rehash this too much, just making a point. How could you then say that and the death penalty is inadmissible? Can't be. Can't be. Too much history. Church has already taught on it. It's supported it for 2 millennia. You can't just go like, well, I don't like it, so I'm wiping it out. This is not how the papacy is supposed to work, my understanding of it anyway. Same thing with just war theory. You can't just say, well, everyone from Origen and Augustine to most recently, whatever the last great Jesuit scholar that wrote about it was, they were all wrong. So I think that they're wrong. We're not having just wars anymore. We're just going to eliminate all wars or not call them wars. So just war theory is repudiated. You can't do that. There's seemingly you can't do it. Here's what Claude said about it. This is the gravest problem in the document. I have to ask the question, why are you going after just war theory in a document about AI and about human magnificence? The encyclical states flatly that the just war theory, quote, is now outdated, close quote. This is not a development of doctrine. It is a rupture with it. Just war teaching is embedded in Augustine, Aquinas, the Council of Trent, and the Catechism of the Catholic Church. How is it that the AI actually knows the Catechism 2307 through 2317? But apparently Pope Leo doesn't, which explicitly states conditions under which war is morally licit and even obligatory for the defense of innocence. The footnote attributes this position to Fratelli Tutti, but Francis there speaks cautiously. He's talking about, speaking of Pope Francis, speaks cautiously about the difficulty of meeting just war conditions in modern warfare. He does not declare the tradition, quote, outdated, close quote. The present encyclical goes materially further than its cited source, and in doing so contradicts the Catechism and the entire moral tradition. A Catholic reader must ask, is the church now a pacifist institution? If so, how does one square this with its canonized soldiers? Yeah, wouldn't this then just kind of repudiate St. Martin of Tours? Just one example. What about the, the Theban Legion? What about the martyrs of Sebaste, the ones that were frozen, the soldiers that were frozen on the lake? How does one square this with its canonized soldiers, its veneration of Crusader orders? So this means that the Crusades are now inadmissible and we can't talk about them anymore. It's consistent teaching that the state has the right and duty to defend its citizens. The document offers no answer because it does not acknowledge the question. Furthermore, the argument given that that just war theory, quote, has all too often been used to justify any kind of war, close quote, is a tu quoque, or quoque, without philosophical weight. The same could be said of virtually every moral doctrine. The doctrine of double effect has been used to justify atrocities. The fact that a teaching has been misapplied does not render it outdated. The argument is invalid, and its invalidity is especially visible to anyone trained in moral philosophy. And that's what Claude says about Magnifica Humanitas. And AI has a valid criticism of an encyclical about the invalidity of AI as a tool to replace humans, or as something that is standing alongside, is the equal to the magnificence of the human being. It's all really confusing, isn't it? Anyone else get the sense that the further away that we get from the kickstart moment of the modern era, that the worse things become and the less clear and the less focused they become, and that the answers are seemingly, oh, wait a minute now. I square that with this.
You want your talk radio shaken.
Do you expect me to talk?
Not stirred.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Truth never dies on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
In 1983, ZZ Top made the song and it was true from the time that song came out till around 2010, when girls stopped going crazy over a sharp-dressed man because men stopped dressing sharply. Cargo shorts, flip-flops, and tank tops became all the rage for men's public casual wear, to say nothing of how they dressed for mass. Well, as my listeners and viewers know, there's hardly anything more important to me than being a sharp-dressed man. And to help you become one, I'm introducing the official necktie of the Mike Church Show, Proselytize, whose designs are not only striking, they're 100% Catholic. You will look fantastic and like a sharp-dressed Catholic man in your Proselytize neckties. Available now in the Mike Church Show haberdashery at shop.mikechurch.com. Shop for ties, caps, t-shirts, and much more in the Mike Church Show haberdashery at shop.mikechurch.com. Hi, folks, it's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Spirit of 76. The Spirit of 76 details the true story of the writing and ratifying of the U.S. Constitution.
Who authorized them to speak the language of we, the people, instead of we, the states? States are the characteristics and the soul of a confederation. If the states be not the agents of this compact, it must be one great...
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and is packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Spirit of 76 on a 2-DVD or 3-CD set. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
In a world more and more infiltrated with fake news, AI-generated slop-ola, isn't it great knowing that Crusade Channel News is still researched, written, and performed by actual humans? Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh no. Get your hands off of me. You chipped my chip.
Boys, break it up. Jeez. Catch Crusade Channel News weekday mornings on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be.
No AI was harmed in the making of this radio content, but we hope to next time.
Membership has its privileges.
American Express was right back in the 1970s. Membership has its privileges, and no membership privilege is greater to a Red, White, and Dude Nation listener than membership in the elite membership club that is the Dude Number. Here's Lee to tell you how to get yours.
That's right, King Dude. Membership does have its privileges. And when it comes to the Dude Number, applying for membership has never been easier. Just head to mikechurch.com/dude to start the membership process. Your unique and one-of-a-kind membership and all the privileges that come with it awaits you. As a member, you'll enjoy private chat groups, VIP privileges to all Mike Church show events, early access to new Dude-geared store items, and of course, your unique Dude Number.
Dude 1210 reporting all quiet on the Eastern Front.
This is Mike's favorite punching bag, Dude number 13.
Hi, this is Steve. My Dude number is 2112.
Dude number 2004, proud member of the Red, White, and Dude Nation reporting for duty.
Become a part of something bigger than any talk show there is and apply for your Dude Number today at mikechurch.com/dude.
Membership has its privileges.
Call 844-527-8723. Holding a PhD for the KingDude Center for Constitutional Studies is not just an honor, it's a way of life. The Mike Church Show is heard exclusively on the Red, White, and Dude Nation.
Blessed feast of St. Augustine of Canterbury to you. It is a Thursday here. Mike Church Show on the Ethics and Broadcasting Network. Here on a Thirsty Thursday, as they used to call it in FM. You've been hit by a smooth criminal. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at mypillow.com/KingDude. For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com/KingDude and check out the My Slippers, the My Towels, the My Mattress Topper, the My Sheets, and so much more. They even have My stuff for your dog or your cat to lay on. It's all at mypillow.com/KingDude. And if you don't have a My Pillow, what have you been waiting for? For 16 years. Hell, in a couple of months, it'll be 17 years. We have been telling people about just how great of a night's sleep and how wonderful it is to have a MyPillow in your bed. And I'm sure that your relatives and your friends that stay over at your house will also thank you if you deck out the guest room and the kids' room and anyone else in Aunt Petunia's mother-in-law suite with a MyPillow as well. Every MyPillow is fitted to the person that is going to use it by the size of a t-shirt that they wear. Did you know that? Check it out today. Get custom fitted for your MyPillow at mypillow.com/KingDude and tell them that I sent you. I had a piece a couple of days ago that I did not get to. I had read it, and I thought it was spot on, but I didn't get to it. It's by Jude Russo at the American Conservative. By the way, just a timeout on that. Can someone tell me, and I'm genuinely asking here because I don't follow Texas politics close enough to be an expert on this, and this is not a defense of John Cornyn, because I couldn't. I'm like Dr. Seuss. I'm like the Cat in the Hat. I would not endorse him on a train, Sam. I would not endorse him with ham. Can someone tell me what the conservative bona fides are of Ken Paxton? What little that I do know from following Texas politics about him is that he doesn't seem like he's a party loyalist, and that he has he didn't have any hesitation in calling out or ratting out or throwing under the bus members of the Texas Republican establishment. And I'm just trying to figure out. I may recall a thing or two that he said that he would defend if Greg Abbott, the governor, would have done them, and that he represented the state in some court cases, and he was on the right side of it. But I think this is a genuine problem and an issue here. People that are the actual conservatives and are trying to conserve something don't appear to be considered or regarded as conservatives. No, this is not a new problem. This is an old problem that I started identifying back in 2006, even before I got religion on foreign policy. I was asking a question. Can you tell me exactly what it is that Denny Hastert, for example, former Speaker of the House and then discovered to be a pervert, of what Dennis Hastert adds to the conservative canon, C-A-N-O-N. Anybody? Bueller. Tom DeLay, same question. Bueller. It seems as though, it doesn't seem as though. It is. The transformation of the citizen legislator into a professional CEO of his own little corporation, or hers, and the transformation of a representative little r republic featuring a Republican form of government is now complete. It's been complete for a while, but it's now so complete that we are actually defending now as conservative the perversion of the whole thing as basically a business model for people that can raise enough money and con enough people to work their way into public office. I don't think that's conservative. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that that's not. Why would party loyalty make one a conservative? This is the question that Russo was asking the other day at the American Conservative. Now, you remember the day after Massey lost, the Tory anarchist Daniel McCarthy who could not wait to get his fingers on a keyboard and a word processor so that he could crank out his dislike of and his dismissal of all things Thomas Massie, and that Massie got what he deserved, and other people like Massie ought to get what they deserve, and that there's no place in the conservative ranks in the modern Republican Party under Trump for people like Massie and this and that and the other. Well, I have to ask the question, if there is no place for people like Massie, but Massie was elected, then where was there or is there a place for him? Anybody want to tackle that one? Because seemingly, to me, if you ask me, the conservative position is the historically American position. That's when it was closer to the end of Christendom, and it retained some of the graces and values that came along with it. Those are almost all gone now. I mean, there are some smoldering remnants of them, but nothing. You know, you don't have anyone in public life that I know of that would endorse a 1960 version of Barry Goldwater, for example. Shortly after that, Ronald Reagan comes out with what are they called? The album that he made against Social Security. And as they were talking about Medicare, and he's going like, this isn't going to work the way they say it's going to work. Social Security, according to the comptroller, Mr. Byers, is already broke. To say nothing, if you go back a little further, Mr. Republican Taft, Senator Taft, there is no one left that you would call a traditional conservative in that realm. As a matter of fact, since the 1960s, you know, the arc is that, you know, Mike Parrott calls it the Overton window. Well, the Overton window has now shifted so far to the left that all you have to do to be called conservative now is vote for a smaller tax increase. Is vote for a little bit more scaled down of a surveillance state. Oh, you want a surveillance state? Absolutely. How big a one? Wow, not as big as one as he has, as she wants. Oh, that's conservative. Yay, small surveillance state. Russo. Dana McCarthy, the American Conservative's own former editor and current board member, current editor of ISI's occasional publication, Modern Age, and now also something to do with the Heritage Foundation, has decided that Thomas Massie had it coming. He feels so strongly about it that he has written his thoughts at length in two separate publications. The Spectator, which I told you about the day after the election, and we read some of it, and I went, no, he's wrong. And Compact. The nub of the argument is that Massie was insufficiently imbued with partisan spirit. In his opposition to the administration's foreign policy and his efforts to publicize the Epstein files, he antagonized Trump, who is popular with Republicans, and interests supportive of Israel, which is popular with Republicans. Why? Well, Christian Zionism, we already know the answer to this. Now, somebody might say, but Mr. KingDude, please! You and Magdalene Rose talked about that people need to be more partisan. They need to be more partisan when their party is correct. Taking a position of antagonism against something that the party, which is rare, is actually correct upon, well, you could call it partisan or you could call it principled partisanship. For example, Nancy Nazi Pelosi. Nancy Nazi Pelosi was a naked partisan in the later parts, or the last, when did she get the gavel? 2006. Pelosi became a pure partisan. What is it that the party said it was its objectives, and whatever they were, then she was going to legislatively get it accomplished. For example, Obamacare. For example, they're going to get a bailout, aren't they? And all the other things that came along with that. The abolition of student loans was a Democrat Party checkbox, and they got it. So Pelosi was a naked partisan, and it was just purely for what the party had decided that it needed to do, or that its donors had told it, or that the New World Order people had told it that it should do. She did it. Mike Johnson, similarly, is pretty much trying to do the same thing. That kind of partisanship is not to be confused with an ideology, or even a mode or a vein of critical thinking, if you will. It's almost the exact opposite. Well, this is what the MAGA cons are now demanding. Pelosiism. You fall in the line, the party tells you where to vote, and you do it.
I mean, it did work for Nancy.
Oh, it absolutely worked for Nancy. For Nancy and her clients, which is, I may go back to what I said. We now have a managerial state where each member of Congress is basically the CEO of an entity that controls approximately $400 billion in assets every year. If you take $7 trillion, here, do the math. We can do this on this show because we have the time. I don't know if my calculator will go up that high. I think I have to actually turn it sideways to get it to do that. Let's just be, we'll round down and say they're only going to spend $6 trillion this year. How many zeros is that, Maggie? That's okay. 9 zeros is $1 billion. That's $1 trillion. 12 zeros is $1 trillion, right? Do I have that right? That's 1,000, 100,000, 100 million, 100 billion. No, I think I have to add 3 more. Okay, now I'm at $6 trillion. Let's divide that by 535 equals 11,214,953. No. Yeah, it's 11,214,953,271. I think I went one too far. I think it's 110 billion that each one would control individually. Maybe I carried a zero wrong.
It would be 3 sets of 3 zeros.
It's 3 sets of 3 zeros? I think that's what I had. 3, 1, 2.
110 billion? Yeah.
So, no, it's 110 billion.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, it's 110 billion per member of the House of Representatives. I want you to think about that. The state of Louisiana's budget, last time I looked, was like $40 billion, $45 billion, something like that. Most states don't have budgets of $110 billion. This state has 5 members of the House of Representatives that basically control and vote on an appropriation of $110 billion apiece. Now, they're not all individual, obviously, but you see where I'm going with this. This is completely and totally out of control, and it almost feels silly to say that, because it's been completely and totally out of control since the aughts, since the Iraq War. Maybe you could have fixed it then. You can't fix this. There's no repairing this. Bankruptcy is the repair. The bond market telling you, we're going to charge you so much interest, you're either going to have to start confiscating people's property and selling it to the Chinese to get the revenue to build your $1.5 trillion army and super spy fair state, or the whole thing is going to crack. The whole thing is going to crumble.
So pull them on dummy.
Yeah, just pull them on dummy. We're going to start going city by city and looking at homes that aren't being managed properly. And if we find a bad landlord or a bad owner of the home, then we're going to take the home and we're going to place it, as good stewards, we're going to put it into better people's hands. Define better people. People that I like. Oh, okay. So is someone really even partisan today? Well, the Democrat Party is obviously the party of the cult of death. So part of what they are partisan about is death. Is that really a way to operate a nation? That's pretty much what Frank Wright is saying about England today. and by inference or by a proxy connection about the United States. And I'll ask him about it. History is going to be a harsh judge of our era unless we start creating saints, which could happen. Back to Jude Russo. McCarthy isn't above trying to have his cake and eat it too. An attitude I admire, but perhaps not one that is conducive to the best analysis. And he says if the fight had merely been over the war with Iran, the outcome might have been different. Even with the degree of support the war finds among older Republicans. But the Iran war was subsumed by the Israel discourse, and while some Massey supporters considered him an anti-war hero, others actually agreed with his opponents in framing him as first and foremost an anti-Zionist. Massey's critical views of NATO were more aligned with MAGA's sentiments, but didn't feature prominently in the race. Close quote. There may be no good ways out of this political zugzwang, but blaming Massey for its comic overtones. McCarthy is smart enough to know what's going on here. Those whose memories stretch back longer than two numbers, the Economist may remember that he's written an article or two about the Israeli lobby. This logical conclusion is that Massey should have just eaten his reservations and adopted the party line, with the two inherent defects that go with it. First, having to support policies you think are bad, and second, being held liable for those policies if they do in fact turn out to be bad. This dynamic, while less pronounced, is also present in L'Affaire Epstein. While I am myself less interested in the Epstein files than many of my fellows, and less persuaded of their use as a hermeneutic for understanding how things work, their disclosure was in fact a signature issue for Trump's FBI director and first attorney general, and something that Trump has claimed would not tarnish his own reputation at all. That Massey stuck with yesteryear's Trumpist flavor, that is to say, tried to be consistent in his own record, seems like a knock on Massey, less like a knock on Massey and more like a knock on Trump. In other words, well, who changed? Trump. And then he says, much rests on how important you think the Iran war is and on your analyses of what went wrong for the Republicans during the Iraq war. And there's more of this. His point basically is, if you get all the way to the end, Donald Trump is not God, I'm pretty certain. I confess to doubting that he's even the deity's local representative. He's a politico. He works for me and for everyone else who voted for him, and notionally for for everyone in the country. When he does things I think he should do, I'm happy to clap and cheer. Yay! When he does things I don't think he should do, I will boo and throw popcorn from the cheap seats. This is how you get what you want in a representative democracy, which is still notionally the form of government prevailing in these states. Notionally, Jude, not it is de facto, it is de jure, not de facto. I am not a movement man, nor especially ideological, nor especially invested in the persons of my employees. That is the sorry wretches in the American government. But then again, I don't work for the Heritage Foundation, so some of this is just tongue-in-cheek. It's basically asking the same question that some of us have been asking, and before us, many people were asking. What exactly is the problem, and is there a current solution? Well, the current solution, one such solution, this may shock you that I'd offer this, but it is a solution of sorts. Just go along with it. We can go back to being MAGA-cons and cheering everything that the Donald does and saying that is as right as rain and as if God would have done it himself. and saying that party is more important than any principle. And regardless of what that entails, we're just going to vote, hope, and cope and stick with the party line and not worry about whether or not the party line is actually good, moral, ethical, or anything of the sort. You can do that, and many people have chosen to do that. What does that say about their character? What does that say about, okay, what do you actually want then? Here, what is the actual purpose then of the American system and the American form of government? Somebody was Xing in the official Mike Church Show Signal chat yesterday. What the hell are we supposed to do, you moron? And was going through the list and going like, okay, democracy sucks. This sucks. This sucks. This sucks. Where are we supposed to go from here? What am I supposed to do? Quit? Throw my hands up in defeat? Moat? Hope and cope? Moat, hope, and cope is a solution for many. And I said, and then I messaged and commented, look, what you're basically bringing up is that the illusion that we are operating under is that democracy is a solution for its own failures, its own failings. Well, how can that be? Can it fix itself when itself is flawed? So if you go through the three, democracy, aristocracy, monarchy. The highest form of monarchy would be Christian Catholic monarchy. Does it have its flaws? You bet. If you had to analyze the three systems, which one would you come down on the positive side of? If you're smart, monarchy.
Your troubles and doubts, giving me everything inside and out, and love strange, so real in the dark. Think of the tender things that we were working on. Slow change may pull us apart when a light gets into your heart, baby. Don't you forget about me. About me. Will you stand above me? Look my way, never love me. Rain keeps falling down, down, down. Will you recognize me? Call my name or walk on. Rain keeps falling down, 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 down.
The Crusade Channel, talk radio the way it should be. Broadcasting live from Madisonville, Louisiana, and streaming 24/7 at crusadechannel.com. You know what makes radio horror and sci-fi dramas that much better? Listening to them in hi-fi. Yeah, the Crusade Channel sound is good, but it's not THX sound good. But you don't need it to be to enjoy over 800 episodes of the greatest sci-fi classics called Suspense. Catch 2 hours of suspense weekdays at 11:30 a.m. exclusively on the Crusade Channel.
One of my favorite books is Jim Collins' Good to Great, and lots of people have benefited from reading it, including me. But few people have read his follow-up book, How the Mighty Fall. Now, over the course of the last 18 years, it's been quite the feat of survival to avoid becoming one of the fallen, but survive we have. And guess what else survived? The world-famous Dude Number t-shirt, which began in 2007. Now, to kick off the relaunch of this elite membership club, we announced a brand new t-shirt design, a brand new certificate of authenticity, and access to numbers that have only recently become available. Here's Jim to tell you how to secure that dude number that's unique and special to you.
Just head to MikeChurch.com/dude for all things dude number, including purchasing your 2026 version of the world-famous dude number t-shirt. That's MikeChurch.com/dude and join America's morning show, The Mike Church Show, and the Red, White, and Dude Nation's elite membership club. That's MikeChurch.com/dude.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-313-7757. 800-313-7757. 800-313-7757. That's 800-313-7757.
Hi folks, it's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Road to Independence, the movie. The Road to Independence tells the exciting story of the Founding Fathers' struggle to declare independence.
I know there is still a chance for peace and reconciliation. I know it, despite what has happened here today. I trust there are many in this room who have not been consumed with the fevers of war. The fevers of Mr. Adams' war.
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and are packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Road to Independence on DVD and CD. Available now at MikeChurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
Hey folks, it's Mike Church. You know, when I was a little children, I remember loving the old Dunkin' Donuts TV spot. You know, the one with the guy who woke up at 3 a.m. mumbling to his wife, "I gotta make the donuts." Well, fast forward 40 years, and now I'm the guy waking up at 3 a.m. mumbling to my wife, "I gotta make the radio." But I have a secret weapon the Dunkin' Donut dude did not have. Crusade Channel Cappuccino Dark Roast Coffee and whole bean or ground. Our fresh, aromatic gourmet coffee is made from 100% fair trade beans, freshly imported, roasted, and then delivered fresh to you. So, whatever AM you arise at to make what you gotta make, count on Crusade Cappuccino Dark Roast Coffee. Order today at crusadechannel.com/coffee or by telephone at 844-527-8723.
This is Capcom. We are ready to go for launch at the Crusade Channel launch site.
New show lineup.
Go.
Broadcasting live on X, YouTube, and Rumble.
We're go, Flat.
Breaking news updates.
Go.
The Mike Church Show Band.
We're go.
We're go for launch for the Crusade Channel 4.0 mothership.
2, 1, lift off.
Last year, the Crusade Channel launched Crusade Channel 4.0, the mothership. And now you can see why everyone else is lost in space.
In 1983, ZZ Top made the song
Crazy about a shark dance.
And it was true from the time that song came out till around 2010, when girls stopped going crazy over a sharp-dressed man because men stopped dressing sharply. Cargo shorts, flip-flops, and tank tops became all the rage for men's public casual wear, to say nothing of how they dressed for mass. Well, as my listeners and viewers know, there's hardly anything more important to me than being a
shark dance man.
And to help you become one, I'm introducing the official necktie of the Mike Church Show, Proselytize, whose designs are not only striking, they're 100% Catholic. You will look fantastic and like a sharp-dressed Catholic man in your Proselytize neckties. Available now in the Mike Church Show haberdashery at shop.mikechurch.com. Shop for ties, caps, t-shirts, and much more in the Mike Church Show haberdashery at shop.mikechurch.com.
The Crusade Channel, your talk podcast and Fiorella File station.
Fiorella is the literary savage who skips sensitivity training. She is the librarian who reads and reviews books so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to the Fiorella Files. On my show, I will be introducing you to books, classic and contemporary, that you must read, should enjoy reading, or should not touch with an 11-foot barge pole.
10 to 11 a.m. Central every Monday on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Holding a PhD at the KingDude Center for Constitutional Studies. The My Church Show. Delivering over 180 minutes of teleprompter-free entertainment, wisdom, and knowledge every single day.
Maybe we do, son. Don't think you have a corner on all of virtue vision in the country, or that everybody else is fat and selfish and you're the first generation to come along that's felt dissatisfied. They all have, you know, about different things, and most of them didn't have the same opportunity and freedoms that you do. The fact is, more people are living better right here than anywhere else ever before in history. So don't expect us to roll over and play dead when you say you're dissatisfied.
You're taller, stronger, healthier, better educated, and you live longer than the last generation. And we don't think that's altogether bad. We've done quite a bit of fighting all around the world. Whether you think it was moral or not, a lot of people are free today to make their own mistakes because of it. And that may just include you.
I don't know. Maybe part of it's the fact that you're in a hurry. But some problems you can't get quick answers to, no matter how much you want them. Show me how to get rid of the unlimited capacity for human beings to make themselves believe that they're somehow right and justified in stealing from somebody.
I don't think that we're telling you to lose your ideals or your sense of outrage. They're the only way things ever get done. And there's a lot that still needs doing. And we hope you'll tackle it. You don't have anything dramatic like trying to come up with a better country. You can find enough to keep you busy right here. While you're at it, don't break things up in the name of progress or crack a placard stick over somebody's head to help him see the light. Be careful of his rights, because your property and your person and your rights aren't any better than his. And next time you may be the one to get it. We remember a man who killed 6 million people and called it social improvement.
So hang in. Don't try to build a new country. Make the old one work. It has for over 400 years.
Which side of this are you on? Are you on the bum or the bum? I'm going with the bum. Doing daily combat against AI and the synthesis of all tyrannies. I am the Generalissimo of the Airborne 1776. Leading combat on land, sea, and on air. Mike Church here at your service on a Thursday. Frank Wright coming up next hour, and excited to talk about Frank and talk with Frank. This portion of the program brought to you by, all right, not that there's anything wrong with the current ones that we have. They're wonderful. But I would love to hear more of you dudes with dude numbers say, "Hi, this is dude number 4713 reporting for duty. Hi, this is dude number 8162. Or whatever the number is, but to do that, you'd have to have a dude number and join the elite club. So you should apply today, guys, at mikechurch.com/dude, mikechurch.com/dude. And if you already have a dude number and you're in one of the signal chats, I think I have one more that I can add that I already have. So
Jeff Johnson's already have his, and so that's a fresh one that we can add to the rotation. I would love to hear your dude number salutation. Send it to me. You can email it to me, or just send it to me in Signal. So find me on the official Mike Church Show Signal chat. You can send it that way. But for those of you that don't have dude numbers, you should apply for one today at mikechurch.com/dude. And as our membership begins to climb and we have more and more people, we can start our own dude number chat room, and there are many other things that we have planned. But you got to become a dude. So if you're on the fence, why? What made you do this? You know, you get a certificate of authenticity with this that has a wax seal on it now. We didn't have the wax seal for the first 15 or so that went out, but we have the wax seal now. And that is suitable for framing in and of itself. Hell, I'd get the dude number just to get the certificate and hang it on the wall. But you didn't do it because you have sat out there going, that's not me, I refuse. I'm in my own little world here. I'm moting, hoping, and coping. Don't moat, hope, and cope. Be cool. Be a dude. MikeChurch.com/dude. Shop.mikechurch.com. Click the dude number and apply today. Let's do some news headlines. Ann Coulter has had it with Stephen Miller. No surprise here. I didn't know that Miller had been around for as long as he had. I had no clue that he had worked for Jeff Sessions. And that when Trump decided that Sessions needed to be fired, and for whatever the reasons were, that Stephen Miller sided with Trump. According to Ann Coulter, my reality TV show, What Won't They Say? He's talking about Stephen Miller and Nicole Wallace. And apparently, did you know that Nicole Wallace used to be a Republican? I did not know this. She worked for Sarah Palin. Wallace, you will recall, was part of the brain trust that picked Sarah Palin, then a little-known Alaska governor, to be McCain's running mate. As Palin's primary assistant, Wallace immediately began leaking nasty stories about her to the press, calling her a diva and carping about her shopping sprees. As soon as Wallace failed at the job of getting her clients elected, she rushed to the New York Times to announce that she hadn't voted for them anyway. That reinvention set up Wallace perfectly for a host role on MSNBC. At that time, it was OMSNBC, where, as a former Republican, she says things too crazy for a Democrat to voice. Like the girl who does the whole football team, she will do anything, say anything, to stay on TV before being discarded. If David Duke bought MS Now and announced, we're going white nationalist, she'd send him her resume. and he says about Miller, for 20 years, Jeff Sessions had been the sole voice of sanity on immigration in the U.S. Senate. Like the little Dutch boy who put his finger in the dike, saving his town from a catastrophic flood, Sessions spared our country from the third world flood long enough for Trump to come along, run on the issue, and win. In any other Senate office, Stephen Miller would have been responding to constituent email. In Sessions' office, he was a major policy advisor whose detailed memo exposing the cons, tricks, and loopholes in the Floridian Senator Marco Rubio's amnesty bill did more than anything else to kill it. I didn't know that either. But he stood by saying nothing as Trump cruelly assailed Sessions, even joining in on the attack. After Sessions' subsequent primary loss in his attempt to return to the Senate, Miller told reporters while strolling down the White House driveway that Sessions' defeat was a great victory for the country, a great victory for the president. Maybe it was all worth it, Ann Coulter says, now that Miller has a crucial perch in Trump's White House. That's a question for the philosophers. Do you know all that about Stephen Miller? I didn't know anything about Stephen Miller. Is the story about the smartphones in here? I want to do this one. This is from MSN.com. Smartphone sales are tumbling. As I say that with this thing in my hand. Well, TKD, don't you have a smartphone? Don't you have an app on a smartphone? Sure do. I've said it before, and I will say it again. I will trade that computer, and that video camera right there for a 10,000 watt FM transmitter, decently on the dial above 93.1 in any medium-sized major market in the U.S. Happy camper. No podcast, no nagging, none of the other garbage and techno crap I have to put up with every day. Just turn the mic on and talk. Hey, Eddie, is the transmitter working? Yes, KingDude, it's working. Fantastic. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're live. See how easy that was? Back in the day when the primary principal concern that you had in running an AM or FM radio station, whether it was talk or not, was whether or not your backup generator had the proper amount of fuel in it, that it hadn't gone bad because it was sitting there for years or whatever, and that the auto start switch had been checked out and it worked. That's really all we cared about. I will remember this when I worked at 850 AM WRBZ, The Bulb, in Raleigh, North Carolina. I was in my first, started in Labor Day weekend. So Hurricane Fran was last week of September, so maybe first week of October. It was 4 weeks in. And Hurricane Fran hit North Carolina. And it wasn't even that, comparatively speaking, it wasn't even that deadly of a storm. But what had happened is that it had rained like 30 of the previous 40 days. So the ground was saturated. And Fran came through and hit Raleigh with 85, 90 mile an hour winds, category 1 basically. But the ground was so wet, it just pushed the pine trees over. And that's what did all the destruction. There wasn't a lot of flooding. It just because the ground was so wet, it just pushed the trees over. And they just fell on every available power line. Back then, Raleigh was because it was Raleigh-Durham is the market. So Raleigh, Research Triangle Park, the entire area was kind of its own ecosystem. The whole thing was down. I want to say people were without power for like 6 weeks. That's when I was on air and I was talking about Governor Jim Hunt furloughing all the state employees. And I'm like, no, don't furlough them, dude. Send them out in the neighborhoods with chainsaws. And Hunt actually called the radio station and demanded to speak to me on air, and I spoke to him. There was no power to that radio station. None.
0.0.
Yeah, we never went off air. What is wrong with this headphone jack? Sorry, it's very annoying. We never went off air because they had a backup generator, and then at the transmitter they had a backup generator. This was the largest and biggest technology hurdle in AM/FM broadcasting. It was literally that simple. Now you can say, "Oh, what about the programming?" And I mean, we do that. We eat that with mustard on it every day. Piece of cake. What you have to go through to run an internet radio station these days, or a radio station that's attached to an internet radio station, is mind-boggling. No one would believe it. They would not believe it if I gave someone if I wrote a white paper and say, "Here, do this," you'd look at it and go, you'd be like the guy in a Geico commercial. Go, "Yeah, not it." You'd walk away. That's where we are. Technology has made us more stupid. It has distanced us. It has broken up families. It has crushed a sense of community. It hasn't made anyone closer. And it certainly has not advanced Christianity, holiness, or intelligence. If anything, it's crushing it. And that's what I think about that. The smartphone has run into tough times. Sales of everyone's favorite device could see the largest decline on record this year, according to market tracker IDC. Yay! Worldwide smartphone shipments are expected to decline 14% in 2026 to 1.09 billion units. I mean, before you start celebrating, there's still a billion of these things are going to be made. According to IDC, that's down from IDC's February forecast of a 12.9% decline, and would mark the steepest annual contraction in smartphone history, the research firm said. There's one potential ray of light. Well, the industry outlook might be getting worse. Estimates for Apple iPhone sales are actually improving. Boo, 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 hiss! The expected decline of smartphone shipments is being driven in part by the elevated cost of memory, critical component. There's a global shortage of most components. That's led to soaring cost, a boon for memory, blah, 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 blah. The U.S.-Iran war has added a fresh layer of cost pressures for smartphone OEMs driven by rising oil prices and transportation costs. Apple was better prepared than the other companies. Analysts expect Apple to show off its highly anticipated AI updates at the company's Worldwide Developers Conference, which kicks off on June the 8th. June the 8th. You know, isn't that another kind of amazing thing? Can you cut off from me for a second? I have to have water. Please. Used to be that people would tune into Steve Jobs to watch the WWDC. That's the Worldwide Developers Conference, and the new Apple gadgets or a new twist or wrinkle in the fabric that was the OS, and the things that humans had created, like the guy that designed this box here, Jonathan Ive, was just is a genius. He's an artist. Jonathan Ive designed the original iMac, you know, the bubble, that was his. The G3, G4 towers, those were his. The iPod, that was his. The iPad, that's all Jonathan Ive. Jonathan Ive just kind of like, they say that they didn't fire him, but he's still a consultant and kind of still working for Apple. But now Apple WWDC is, you're gonna regale us of what non-humans can do. I think Steve would be appalled. Where the hell are we going with this? Smartphone sales, there ought to be a moratorium. If you got one, keep it. You're not getting a new one. We're outlawing them. They are a drain on humanity. They are a drain on the economy. And again, look at all the work that has been created. People say, like, you know, in adapting the new digital revolution and new technological revolution, America has done this and that and the other. America has done bad things. The world has seen horrible things done. As a matter of fact, I said I was going to pick up on this, and I didn't. I'm at the place in the essay that I have been sharing with you from Owen McGran, the palimpsest. I'm at the place in the essay where he starts to get into some of the nitty-gritty about, okay, well, here's why these things are bad. And here's why the things that AI, if these lunatics, these James Bond movie villains, Altman and the rest of them, are allowed to actually pull the trigger on this. And look, at this point in time, they would be pulling the trigger out of spite. There is no evidence, none, that the AIs can even do what it is they're advertised to do, which is to replace all of us. There is no evidence. Owen says this. This is where I left off yesterday. These bastards always tell on themselves. OpenAI published a white paper in April calling for industrial policy for the intelligence age, full of radically progressive proposals. A 32-hour work week. I mean, this is Mamdani stuff here. This is worse than Mamdani. A public wealth fund providing all citizens an equity stake in AI companies. Blah, blah, blah. In the same period, OpenAI's president helped fund a super PAC that spent over $2 million on ads against Alex Borges, a New York congressional candidate whose crime was introducing safety regulation for large AI developers and proposing to tax AI to fund direct payments to Americans for the damage it would cause. The company removed a profit cap that had previously limited investors to 100 times their initial investment. In no history of Earth, until the industrial age, and I don't even think until the industrial age, until the IPO age, has anyone been able to invest in something and get a 100 times their investment return. Now, are there exceptions to that rule? Yeah, you could have invested in Hewlett-Packard maybe or something like that as an early investor, but that's the exception, not the rule. Chris Lehane, OpenAI's chief lobbyist, systematically deprioritized internal research that could produce unflattering results. Quote, whenever someone wrote a paper which talked about something negative, some negative aspect of AI, he would say, we're not going to release something about a problem until we have a solution for it. And then he would say, we want to do applied physics, not theoretical physics. In other words, tell the story that helps us, not the one that's true. A Philosophy 101 student who misreads Nietzsche writes a bad paper and gets a C. A billionaire who misreads Nietzsche builds a political philosophy around the misreading and funds it with the GDP of a small nation. That is effing insane. These are not serious people. They are serious about accumulation and about winning. They are not serious about the questions that matter for what they're building, what we owe each other, what makes a life worth living, and what happens to a civilization when you remove the material basis of human agency. These questions have occupied the best minds in human history for millennia. The Valley's engagement with them amounts to reading the cliff notes on a transatlantic flight and arriving convinced you've mastered the canon. And these people want to restructure civilization? And then he says, Albert Camus broke with Jean-Paul Sartre and the French left over the most concrete political question there is. Can the people alive today be treated as acceptable casualties in the pursuit of a better future? What a statement that is. Sartre and Marxists said yes. History has a direction. The revolution requires sacrifice. Camus said no. Any system of thought that subordinates living people to a hypothetical future has already committed the foundational moral error. Once you accept that logic, there is no limiting principle. Any atrocity becomes justifiable. Any amount of present suffering can be rationalized as a necessary input to the glorious output. You know, I have talked about this in analog terms here on the Mike Church Show for years, if not decades. I'll give you one quick anecdote point. When the parish that I live in, you call it a county, we call it a parish, St. Tammany Parish, decided that it wanted to increase its revenue stream so the people that worked in governments could build monuments to themselves, buildings, and they would name them after them, and then import another doubling of the population here. They didn't ask any of us what we thought about it. The nice little idyllic, low traffic, low density life that we all moved here or grew up here to experience was not even a concern. All that mattered was the revenue from the construction.
You want your talk radio shaken.
Do you expect me to talk?
Not stirred.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Truth never dies on the Veritas Radio Networks. Crusade.
Membership has its privileges.
American Express was right back in the 1970s. Membership has its privileges, and no membership privilege is greater to a Red, White, and Dude Nation listener than membership in the elite membership club that is the Dude Number. Here's Lee to tell you how to get yours.
That's right, King Dude. Membership does have its privileges. And when it comes to the Dude Number, applying for membership has never been easier. Just head to mikechurch.com/dude to start the membership process. Your unique and one-of-a-kind membership and all the privileges that come with it awaits you. As a member, you'll enjoy private chat groups, VIP privileges to all Mike Church show events, early access to new Dude-geared store items, and of course, your unique Dude Number.
Dude 1210 reporting all quiet on the Eastern Front.
This is Mike's favorite punching bag, Dude number 13.
Hi, this is Steve. My dude number is 2112.
Dude number 2004, proud member of the Red, White, and Dude Nation reporting for duty.
Become a part of something bigger than any talk show there is and apply for your Dude Number today at mikechurch.com/dude.
Membership has its privileges.
The Crusade Channel and the slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Mary Joseph with your Saint of the Day. Today is May 28th, the feast of St. Augustine of Canterbury, who died in 604. He was the great apostle of England, sent there by St. Gregory the Great in 597. He brought 40 Benedictine monks with him, and on a Christmas day after his arrival, he baptized 10,000 Englishmen. Even King Ethelbert was converted. This was the beginning of the great age of the Catholic faith in England, once a country so devout and loyal to the true faith, and so lovingly prayerful toward the Blessed Virgin Mary, that it was called, as a land, Our Lady's Dowry. The best traditions of England are all Catholic, and no heretic has been able completely to destroy them. And that 300 years of possession could never give heresy any claim to a country which was led astray by seduction and violence, and which has retained so many traces of ancient and deep-rooted Catholicity. Today is also the feast of St. Bernard of Menthon, who died in 1008. He was an Augustinian monk who visited every mountain and valley in the Alps. He took care of all travelers there for over 40 years. He is the patron saint of mountain climbers, and the celebrated St. Bernard dogs are named in his honor. St. Bernard of Menthon, St. Augustine of Canterbury, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the lives of today's saints. Tomorrow is the feast of St. Mary Magdalene de Pazzi. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, go to crusadechannel.com/saints. To find out more about our sisters and to learn how you can help us build our convent, please go to stphilomenaconvent.org. I'm Sister Mary Joseph, and until next time, may God bless and Mary keep you.
Attention Coffee Police Academy students. We will now call the roll. CPA candidate Jones.
Present.
Joe Arabica Friday.
Present.
Tommy.
Oh, I'm here, sir. I just can't seem to keep my eyes open since I started drinking this Barrett Bargain Basement Stale Bean Water.
And just why are you violating CPA Coffee Code SPW1AM?
Well, that's easy. So I can save up money to get into the Coffee Cop Academy.
Son, breaking CPA rules so you can get into CPA is no way to become a coffee cop. Now, I'm afraid we're going to have to...
Uh-oh. Sounds like Lou has found the academy, and he's on his second cup of Abbey Roast.
Well, what does he want?
He wants to know why the CPA didn't recognize his Rougarou nouns.
Rougarou nouns? And I'm the one that rejected his application.
Will Lou the Rougarou have his revenge and grind the coffee cop into espresso? Stay tuned to this station for our next episode. And in the meantime, order Abbey Roast Coffee at shop.mikechurch.com. The Mike Church Show has some
Princess Bride themed advice for the MAGA cons now running the Trump administration.
Ah, you fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The most famous is never get involved in a land war in Asia.
The Mike Church Show,
a daily beacon of chivalry and peace
on the Red, White, and Dude Nation.
losing all my breath. Making love to you was never second best. I saw the world crashing all around your face, never really knowing it was always mesh and lace. I'll stop the world and melt with you. You've seen the difference and it's getting better all the time. There's nothing you and I won't do. I'll stop the world and melt with you.
Performing this show with 91.9% of my testosterone tied behind my back just to make it a fair fight. It's the Mike Church Show in year number 35. You know, folks, some people have, some of you have started to discover, it's probably by accident that you kind of stumbled onto the Dude Gear store at shop.mikechurch.com. You're probably looking for something else. And then you just stumbled upon the site and went, oh, hey, he really does have coffee. Yeah. Oh, hey, there really is a really cool emerald green cosmic 35th anniversary Mike Church Show t-shirt. Yeah. He really does have seasonings and spices. Yeah. There really is a Santa Claus and a Louisiana merch tab. Yeah. He really does have the Jim Collins books and hundreds of others. Yeah, sure do. Got them all. And yes, we really do have Maggie's Rosaries, which people seem to have gone. Now, Little Bayou Rosary does have handmade rosaries there as well. It's all at shop.mikechurch.com. Fresh shipment of coffee in yesterday, and I only took 6 boxes to the post office. A most disappointing afternoon. As a matter of fact, my buddy, the postmaster, even goes like, bruh, you've been bringing 2 bags in at a time. I'm like, I know. Memorial Day hangover, dude. I don't know. So, fresh coffee, fresh cigars, in the Dude Gear store at shop.mikechurch.com. Apply for your dude number today, shop.mikechurch.com, and the coffee really is fresh. How many of you have tried the Capuchin Holy Roast New Orleans blend coffee and chicory? You've never had a coffee like this. It's worth the investment of just 1 bag, and I think most of you will be really, you'll go like, that's an interesting flavor of coffee or variety, because it is. Shop with us today, shop.mikechurch.com. Where is the, which is the soundbite where Trump says he's going to blow Oman up? Is that 4? Or is that 3? By the way, can I just say something about this? If you read Trump's book, the first book, The Art of the Deal, the deal that he enters into to basically purchase Mar-a-Lago was made. There's 2 deals that he made, that he used what's called an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. This is something that is used in the business world where you go like, okay, I'm going to say this. Tell me if you agree with it. Yes. Okay, you're going to say this, and I'm going to tell you, yes, I agree with that term or whatever condition. We put this into a document called a Memorandum of Understanding. This is something you use in business to do hostile takeovers and stuff. You go to someone, you go like, look, your business sucks. I'm coming in and I'm taking. You pull a Mitt Romney and Bain Capital. A Memorandum of Understanding it doesn't sound right when you're talking about détente. It's not a business transaction. You cannot solve the world's moral and existential problems through the economics of dollars and cents and the sale and transfer of goods and services. If it were that easy, we would all be saints. All of the world's problems would have been solved by the price mechanism and this thing they call capitalism.
As a matter of fact, Maggie, while you're typing, I'm sorry, I forgot. Will you go grab my Small is Beautiful Schumacher book? Because I read another 5 pages last night, and there was a quote in there that I read, and I went, yep, I'm going to share that with the audience tomorrow on air because it has everything to do with the current crisis. Because we just, thank you. Here it is. Shop.mikechurch.com. Really? You had Schumacher books? Got a lot of books in the Founders Trading Post store. People would be shocked. A garage full of books.
Mini library.
Schumacher. But poisonous errors being unlimited sorrow in the 3rd and 4th generation. The errors are not in science, but in the philosophy put forward in the name of science, as Etienne Gilson put it more than 20 years ago. One of Brother Francis's favorite philosophers, Etienne Gilson, quote, such a development was by no means inevitable, but the progressive growth of natural science has made it more and more probable. The growing interest taken by men in the practical results of, I just have to have it nearby, science! You're going to keep using that damn word. Of science was in itself both natural and legitimate, but it helped them to forget that science is knowledge and practical results, but its byproducts. Before their unexpected success in finding conclusive explanations of the material world, men had begun either to despise all disciplines in which such demonstrations could not be found, or to rebuild those disciplines after the pattern of the physical sciences. As a consequence, metaphysics and ethics had to either be ignored or at least replaced by new positive sciences. In either case, they would be eliminated. A very dangerous move indeed, which accounts for the perilous position in which Western culture has now found itself. You know, this Ethics in Broadcasting Network, go to mikechurch.com. Those of you that dare, get your podcast in the greatest podcast player and the ease of use podcast distribution system in all of the business, podcast.mikechurch.com. You would see this, and me talking about this in pretty much this fashion, and on the homepage you would see our statement of principles and why ethics matter. It's all that matters. And then Schumacher says it's not even true that metaphysics and ethics would be eliminated. On the contrary, all we got was bad metaphysics and appalling ethics. Historians know that metaphysical errors can lead to death. R.C. Collingwood wrote, and this is the one that I wanted to share most ardently, quote, the patristic diagnosis of the decay of Greco-Roman civilization ascribes that event to a metaphysical disease. It was not barbarian attacks that destroyed the Greco-Roman world. The cause was a metaphysical cause. The pagan world was failing to keep alive its own fundamental convictions. They, the patristic writers, said, because owing to faults in metaphysical analyses, it had become confused as to what these convictions were. If metaphysics had been a mere luxury of the intellect, this would not have mattered. What the two quotes and what Schumacher says, you get that book in the Founders and Do Gear store at shop.mikechurch.com. We have one copy left. What they are saying is that metaphysics matter. We have eliminated them. I want all of you to go to Catholicism.org. Brother Andre Marie, years ago, had a fascination with, as a matter of fact, there's an episode of Reconquest on this subject with Dr. Wolfgang Smith. quite possibly the most brilliant physicist, astrophysicist, the last half of the 20th century, especially after his conversion to the Catholic faith. And in one of his write-ups or his columns, his ad reams, I think it was an ad rem, about Dr. Wolfgang Schmidt, and a brother interviewed him. And one of the things that Dr. Wolfgang Schmidt had pointed out and had told the scientific world, and the scientific world ignored him. You can't go any further in the study and the use and the application of physics and even quantum physics without returning to metaphysics. You have to return to metaphysics. Now, this is the part of the Mike Church show where I call this the Berzer effect. This is where the eyes glaze over. This is where the women go like, yeah, I think I'm going to find me a soap opera to listen to, and they all leave. And this is where people are like, but KingDude, play this. You're asking me to think. I don't understand what the metaphysics. I would hope after 15 years of this that some of you have no glazed eyes and are going like, yeah, KingDude, deal it on the metaphysics. Metaphysics, meta, above. Physics. What? Here's this, all you need to understand this is, okay, physics, metaphysics. Okay, who is up here? I'll give you 3 guesses. First 2 don't count. 3-letter word. Go. Crickets. No. God. Metaphysics. Supernatural. God. He is the author of nature, thus the supernatural. This informs this. This created this. Does everyone understand this? If you don't seek an understanding and a relationship with this, him, God, to help you understand this, and to inform you like, no, you can't think about it like that. That's heretical, or that would make you an apostate, or it would make you a madman or a murderer or a mass murderer or whatever. What Wolfgang Schmidt was saying, that you have to have this to have a better and greater understanding of this. The two were linked. You had gone as far as you could go understanding this with man and pagan thought and without metaphysics, which is why I'm not the one that crafted this. Other people far wiser than I have said it. I'm just going to repeat it to you. Think of the last 60 years of scientific progress, if there has been any. Oh, there have been improvements on previous technologies, and some things have been discovered. Apply it to the field of medicine, for example. This is where it is key. Researchers, and the guys in a white lab coat, scientists, have sworn off on. They all have to take an oath. They basically have to say there is no God and Darwin was right. Even though since Darwin lived coming up on 200 years ago now, or 150 years, 160 years ago, there has been no basis. Nothing can be said that Darwin's theories are correct. No natural selection. There have been no mutations. There's certainly been no evolutions. There's nothing in the Darwin canon that is still scientifically sound, and they all know it. They just can't admit it, because to admit it is to say we have to go back to Catholicity, what the church has taught about science, and metaphysics. This is what Schumacher is saying. Now, I got into this discussion here because Trump has no metaphysics. None. 0.0. This much.
Zero.
He has no consideration for them.
Zero.
This makes him a rotten leader. It makes him a bad human being in many instances, because he didn't have any consideration of metaphysics. They had no, which would leave all the area in between. This is where you get ethics. Imagine a world that had never aligned with Satan demons, demonology, quackery, paganism, and Darwinism, because it's a fake science. It's not a science. It's a theory. It's not even a theory. How it's a chapter in a science fiction novel now. And yet they base their research on, how are we going to cure cancer? Well, the Darwinian model says that it must be evolving. So all of our research is going to go into how is it evolving? If we can find the evolution gene, the gene that makes it evolve, then we can identify that, and then we can stop it from evolving, and then we can reverse engineer something to make it not mutate in the first place. Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong. And how do we know that it's wrong? Because it hasn't produced a single solitary cure. Can you go cancer-free because they bombard your body with chemo, with radiation and other chemicals? Yep, sure can. Did they cure it? Nope, did not. How many people do you know got rid of cancer, 0.0, cancer-free, and went into remission? Because they're studying the wrong thing and the method is wrong, and they will never cure it. Which is why the American Cancer Society is a fleecing organization. So is the American Heart Association. You're not trying to understand anything more about how the heart works and how God created it, which might lead you to where, well, if we get back to metaphysics, who knows what scientific, medical advances might have been made? Who knows what advances in statecraft might have prevented World War II if we had metaphysics over foreign policy? Ethics. So which was the one we said is going to blow Oman up? Is it 4? Okay, here. This isn't statecraft. This is 4D chess. No, it's a playground bully saying, I got a bigger army than you. Bend your damn knee or I'll blow you up.
The strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who will control
it's international waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it.
Stop the tape! Stop the tape! I want to ask you a question, Mr. President. 24.9 miles off of the Louisiana coast is what? Asking for a friend. 24.9 miles off of the coast of South Carolina, off of Hilton Head, is what? Your time starts now, Mr. Trump. Best of luck.
The Mike Churchill Jeopardy question for the Donald is...
American water. The international water line starts at 25 miles out. The Strait of Hormuz is less than 25 miles wide. Why is that international water? The Iranians on one side, the Arabians and the Emirates and the Kuwaitis on the other. Gulf of Oman. Oman on one side, Pakistan, I think it's Pakistan or India, on the other. Now, after the 25 miles of international water, sure, why not? I'll play. Let's have a party. He wouldn't say that, the Strait of Mississippi, the Mississippi River Strait is international water, is it? We here in Louisiana tend to think that it's Louisiana water. I know that all of you federales and all of you carpetbagging Yankees think it's your water. Runs through our state. We don't claim it when it runs through Arkansas. All right, roll the tape. I just had to point that out.
Control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine. No, the Strait.
Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand it. Everybody will understand. So all of our new Abraham Accord oil trading partners on your big Arabian tour last winter, where you went to Oman, you went to UAE, you went to Saudi Arabia, you went to all these countries. They literally rolled the red carpet out. The Qataris gave you a plane. They all know that if you don't ever do it, you have to blow them up. You're now threatening to blow up. And somebody, and the MAGA cons that are apologizing, that's just him blustering. That's just the way he talks. Well, somebody needs to tell him to stop. That's not how you talk in international affairs. You know, when I was in high school, I had to study U.S. American history, and I had to have like a year of world history, maybe 2 years. I don't remember. I should, but I don't. One of the terms that we had to understand, and they gave us tests on this, was the term détente. What is détente? Maggie, what does Webster say the dictionary, the definition of détente is? D-E-T-E-N-T-E with a liaison over the E, détente. Well, I was taught that détente is the process of negotiation to arrive at, in the best case scenario, you would arrive at a treaty of some sort. So it sounds like détente, French for relaxation, is the easing of strained relations between rival countries. Dial it down a notch through diplomacy, trade, and communications rather than confrontation. The term is most famously used to describe a specific era during the Cold War of the 1970s, détente. Is this what Trump is doing, détente? Is it a relaxation? If you're threatening to blow, well, blow up, Oman, they'll fall in line, we'll blow them up. This is now the United States of America's promise to the rest of the world. It used to be, we were the global leaders in freedom and of leading the world in the good things and in peaceful negotiations and harmony between countries. And no, we don't need that. The strait will be open. The world can use it. It's international waters. Now, perhaps there may have been a treaty somewhere that was agreed to that a certain small stretch of the Strait of Hormuz is international water, not the area that goes through Iran and goes through. Frank Wright coming up next.
It's not tape or a Post-it or a candy bar, but this new 3M
is the freshest spin on true crime shows since dinosaurs were solving cold cases with fossil evidence. Yeah, it's that original, folks.
Mom's Murders and Mysteries. New episodes debut every Tuesday night, 6:30 East, 4 West, exclusively on the Crusade channel. Live talk podcast radio, the way it should be.
Hi, folks, it's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Road to Independence, the movie. The Road to Independence tells the exciting story of the Founding Fathers' struggle to declare independence.
Then on 10 May 1776, Congress instructed the colonies to form their own governments and write their constitutions.
Resolved that it be recommended to the respective assemblies of the United Colonies to adopt such government as shall best conduce to the happiness and safety.
This animated movie comes complete with collector